Okay, WWE Payback 2016. Just finished watching the event, give or take about 20 minutes ago. Yeah, if you're not used to my normal format, if you had seen the last two wrestling recap videos, I don't normally watch these things live. I'm really in the position to do so, so I watch the rebroadcast. And so instead of being nearly half asleep, I am now nearly half awake. Anyway, well, we'll get right to the matches right now. Okay, I do have a bit of a complaint first off. These are the two kickoff show matches. Now, they put two shows on the kickoff matches, I think, because they expected something to go longer. We'll get to that at that point. But anyway, there was the Baron Corbin-Dolph Ziggler match and the United States Heavyweight Championship match between Kalisto and Ryback. Now, here's the problem. First, they announced the first match is going to be Corbin and Ziggler. Then, before this big commercial break, before the first match, they say, oh, no, it's going to be the U.S. title match, Ryback and Kalisto. Well, it turns out to be Corbin and Ziggler. So, I'm not joking. If you look at my notes here, you can see I have the match listings and they're all X'd out. Eventually, I got it right. It was Corbin and Ziggler. Anyway, the two open up the match. They're jawing at each other. Immediately, Corbin starts pounding Ziggler. Corbin does a big baseball slide and hits Ziggler with a forearm on the outside of the ring. Ziggler starts to rally, but then Corbin counters the actions with a big stun gun maneuver. Corbin whips Ziggler into the turnbuckle. Ziggler bangs his sternum really hard. Started selling that. Ziggler began to fight back a little bit. He locked on a sleeper hold. Eventually Corbin worked his way out of that. They got into the outside of the ring. Corbin wheelbarrowed Ziggler into the ring post, knocked him senseless. Corbin then began to jaw with the fans a little bit. He got Ziggler, rolled him into the ring. He turned on again to play to the fans. Suddenly the ref starts hitting 8, 9. Corbin runs into the ring, but then he turns on, he starts playing to the fans again, and then he moves to grab Ziggler, and Ziggler counters that into a roll-up for the 3 count and the victory. Yeah, pretty pedestrian match. Again, my main complaint is the shuffling on this pre-show thing. I'll stop with that. Anyway, our next match for that is the United States Championship match, Kalisto versus Ryback. Ryback comes out and he has a weightlifting belt that says the pre-show stopper on it. The pre-show stopper. Anyway, early on, Kalisto hits like an inverted monkey flip and follows it up with 2 suicide moves to the outside. Including this big plancha where he somehow managed to change direction in mid-air without any sort of assistance at all. It was really cool looking. Ryback then threw Kalisto right into the turnbuckle. Kalisto countered a power slam attempt to do a tornado DDT. Kalisto then hit his Hurricanrana DDT, got a 2 count. Ryback hit a spine buster for a 2 count. Okay, at some point they started fighting. They got into the corner, and Ryback got up on the top ropes. Kalisto went and he hit 2 enziguris, knocking Ryback a little silly. Kalisto went for a top rope maneuver. Ryback grabbed Kalisto, put him up in a military press, put a press slam from the top rope. Kalisto lands. Ryback goes for another top rope maneuver, top rope splash. He comes off the top rope. Kalisto rolls out of the way, follows it up with the Salino del Sol for the 3 count and the win. Kalisto retains the championship. Okay, as for the title match itself, it was all right. I mean, it wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't terrible either. Good work rate from both guys. Again, it kind of shows how far the U.S. Championship has fallen in a year all of a sudden. I'm beginning to agree with the one person on Cage Side Seats who wrote the column. Maybe we need to bring back John Cena and get the U.S. title back onto him soon so we can have the open challenge, because that made it interesting, and it's not really interesting right now, all due respect to Kalisto. Okay, and then now we're getting to the show proper. It opened up with the New Day coming out and talking about, the number 1 contenders tournament match is going to be the next one. And then they started the show proper with the vignettes and everything. And then we go to our third match, the Vaudevillains versus Enzo and Cass, the finals of the number 1 contenders tournament for the tag team titles. And, they were introducing the guys, and Enzo came out immediately and dropped his microphone during his intro. So he had to run back and pick it up. Starting things off, we had Enzo and Simon Gotch facing each other. Eventually Cass tagged in, and Aiden English tagged in as well. Cass put Aiden English in a full Nelson, and then Enzo began pounding away at his chest like a boxer punching bag. And unfortunately, not too long after that is when this began to fall apart. Again, because this is coming up so much later than everyone else's, I'm pretty sure we know what happened. Simon Gotch tagged back in. They set up a move where Gotch was trying to essentially throw Enzo out of the ring. Enzo's supposed to slide under the bottom rope out of the ring. He came in at a really bad angle. His underarm caught on the second rope. And again, because he came at this angle and he caught the rope just a really bad angle, and as a result, Enzo's head just hit like that on the side of the ring apron. He rolled to the outside of the ring, and he just didn't move. And this was not part of the show. Like, everything kind of stopped. The ref came out and immediately just looked at him, turned and called for the bell. So right now that's going to go down as a no contest, I think. They had to bring a stretcher out. Now, I did look up on Facebook, and they did say, obviously Enzo suffered a concussion. He was kept in the hospital overnight for observation. I think he's out now. Obviously, he's going to need some recovery time, but I'm sure they'll be back in a few weeks, hopefully. All the best to Enzo there. And, unfortunately, this did kind of cast a bit of a pall over the beginning of the next match, which was the main contender for match of the night, and that is Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. And like I said, I'd say the first maybe 2 or 3 minutes of the match, the crowd was kind of not into it. They began to get into it slowly. I think they just needed to adjust after the aborted tag match, unfortunately. Anyway, starting things off, Zayn took the action right to Owens. He throws Owens through the ropes and hits a big somersault planche onto Owens. Owens then tossed Sami Zayn into the ring steps on the outside. Owens then dropped Zayn across the top rope. Zayn hit an inside-out lariat and began punching Owens into the corner. Zayn hit a Michinoku driver. They called it a Blue Thunder Bomb. It was not a Blue Thunder Bomb. It was a Michinoku driver for a 2 count. Zayn hit a Blue Thunder Bomb for a 2 count. Owens then hit his Fisherman's Brainbuster maneuver, got a 2 count. Owens then hit 2 cannonballs in the corner, went for the pop-up powerbomb. Zayn countered that with that big drop kick that he does. Owens countered a tornado DDT into a backbreaker. Owens went for a powerbomb on the ring apron. Zayn countered that with a big back body drop. Sammy then hit his tornado DDT through the ropes on the outside of the ring. Gotta flip my notes over. Sammy then tried to set Owens up in the corner for the haluva kick. Owens countered the haluva kick with a super kick. Owens then hit the pop-up powerbomb for the 3 count and the win. Afterwards, Owens tossed Zayn out of the ring and then demanded that Byron Saxton come into the ring to interview him. So Byron reluctantly got up and got into the ring and got the microphone and started talking to him. And Owens just like, asked me what it's like to beat Sami Zayn. And it's like, what do you think happened after this? And it's like, do you think you're done with Sami Zayn? It's like, that's not what I asked you to ask me. That's what I told you to ask me. And he basically just grabbed the microphone and he said, look, I'm coming after the Intercontinental title back. I want my belt back. And, yeah. And then Owens announced that he's going to join the commentary team at the desk for the next match, which is the Intercontinental Championship match, The Miz versus Cesaro. The whole time through the match, Owens is taking pot shots at both Miz and Cesaro, so there are times it looks like he's maybe playing a bit towards siding with Miz, maybe to try to get a title shot out of it. I don't know exactly. But it was funny the whole time. There's actually a point he started calling Miz Mike the whole time. But at the other time, too, he was also bashing Miz, saying, well, he only won the belt because Maurice distracted Zack Ryder, and that's everything there. Anyway, the match itself proper. Miz put Cesaro into a wrist lock, and Cesaro started doing multiple kip-ups. That's, if you don't know what a kip-up is, it's when the wrestler's on his back and then he kind of kicks his legs and he stands up. Like, he doesn't rise up with his hands. It's hard to do in a sitting position. Yeah, but you see he lifts his knees up and goes, boom, and he jumps right into the standing position. That's a kip-up. And Cesaro did that like 2 or 3 times. Cesaro then managed to get Miz into the corner, put him up on the top turnbuckle, hit a drop kick. He then went for a superplex, but Maurice managed to get up just enough on the ring apron to grab a hold of the Miz's foot and hold him down, so Cesaro fell off the ropes. At that point, Miz began to target Cesaro's shoulder. Eventually, Miz put Cesaro into a sleeper hold. Let's see. Cesaro started hitting the very European uppercuts over and over. Cesaro powered out of the sleeper hold into a suplex, and I forgot to mention that. Cesaro hit a big corkscrew uppercut for a 2 count. Miz tosses Cesaro straight into the ring post, his injured shoulder. Then hit the skull-crushing finale, but only got a 2 count out of it. And it was at this point that Sami Zayn returned to the outside of the ring and began attacking Kevin Owens. The two were brawling on the outside. The brawl began to spill into the ring right as Cesaro had done the big swing and then locked in a crossface. Miz was tapping out, but the ref was not looking because he was more concerned with the action between Owens and Zayn because they were up on the ring apron. You know, Cesaro got up, knocked both men from the ring apron. This enabled Miz to get a roll-up and the 3 count. This match was it was pretty average. Nice spots, kind of like they continued after the really good Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match. I like the idea of adding at least Owens into this. The one problem I have is this is now basically our 3rd match where there's been a sneaky pin. I don't know, yeah, exactly, a distracted pin or something of that nature. I mean, yeah, even the Ryback. The Ryback Kalisto match. That ended because Ryback was goofing off, pulled off a maneuver he shouldn't have done, and then got caught with a sneaky pin. Okay, it did come after a finisher, but it was still a sneaky pin. And that was not boding well. Okay, our next match after that is Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose. Ambrose begins pounding Jericho into the corner. Jericho's flipped Ambrose over the top rope and followed it up with the baseball slide. Ambrose clotheslined Jericho on the outside and then began mocking the classic Jericho show-off pin, where he puts the foot on the guy's chest and does the... and flexes his muscles. Jericho's managed to get back in the ring, hit Ambrose with a slingshot across the bottom rope. Ambrose hit a tornado DDT for a 2 count. Ambrose countered a clothesline into a swinging neck breaker. Ambrose went for a top rope bionic elbow. Jericho countered into the walls of Jericho. Ambrose got to the ropes. Ambrose went for the dirty deeds on the announce table. Jericho countered. It looked like he was going to go for the walls of Jericho again because putting a guy in a hold on an announce table is somehow more painful than in a ring. But instead, he fell backwards and catapulted Ambrose into the timekeeper ring announcer area where that's located. Ambrose just beat the 10 count to get back in the ring. Jericho's locked on the walls of Jericho again. Ambrose was able to counter that into a small package. Ambrose then countered a lion salt. At this point, Ambrose got up and managed to hit the dirty deeds for the 3 count and the win. Okay, our 7th match is the Women's Championship match. Charlotte versus Natalya, with Charlotte's father Ric Flair being in her corner and Natalya's uncle Bret Hart being in her corner. And I don't want to mock what Bret has gone through with his battle with prostate cancer, but I don't think he was in any shape to really be in this event at all. Really, we couldn't have gotten another member of the Hart family to maybe fill in. Jim the Anvil Neidhart couldn't be in the match. Anyway, like I said, Bret was walking down to the ring, and he actually needed Natalya's assistance to get to the ring. He couldn't walk all the way down. Anyway, to the match itself. Right away, Natalya started to go for a sharpshooter. Charlotte managed to fight out of it. Charlotte started showboating to the crowd. Natalya went for another sharpshooter. Charlotte fought her way out of it. Natalya hit Charlotte with a German suplex, sorry. At this point, Charlotte came back and began targeting Natalya's leg. Natalya countered a figure 4 attempt into a small package. Charlotte went for a top rope moonsault. Natalya shoved Charlotte off the ropes and into the ring barricade, which, again, given what happened to Enzo, I think anything where you're starting to set those types of moves up where you're mocking concussions after seeing a real one might not have been the best idea there. Anyway, Natalya then countered on the outside of the ring, Charlotte went for a power bomb, and Natalya countered that into a head scissors, and it sent Charlotte headfirst into the ring steps. Again, concussion bumps, maybe not the best idea in the wake of an actual concussion. Anyway. Natalya then hit a discus clothesline and got a 2 count. Charlotte then hit the natural selection for a 2 count. Charlotte eventually hit the moonsault for a 2 count. Charlotte went for a figure 4 and then into the figure 8, but Natalya was able to roll through. Charlotte had to get to the ropes and then break the hold. At this point, Charlotte then went and locked on the sharpshooter, and then Charles Robinson, the referee, turned and said, "Ring the bell," because yes, we needed to reenact the Montreal screw job. They've done this thing so many times now. Not quite, I know it wasn't the exact original screw job, but, the 1997 Montreal screw job is now less important because they keep doing it, and it's been done to death. And I guess they're going to use the argument because Charles Robinson, if you don't know, Charles Robinson is a referee. He has platinum blonde hair, much like Ric Flair. In fact, Charles Robinson used to be called Little Nate when he worked in WCW. So they're probably saying that Flair got to him for some way. Yeah. Not nearly as good a match as they had at Roadblock. I wouldn't have minded if just something else had happened, like maybe Charlotte got DQ'd, maybe, a count out, maybe Natalya accidentally got DQ'd because Bret interfered. Just something better than a reenactment of the Montreal screw job, because it just doesn't make any sense to do that anymore. The novelty was well worn off. Anyway, right after that match, Natalia and Brett put Charlotte and Rick, respectively, in dual sharpshooters. Whatever. And that leads us into our, well, not exactly a match, but the next part of the show, which is Mr. McMahon announces who will be the one to run Raw. Will it be Stephanie or will it be Shane? Funny thing that happened early on. Vince came out and immediately the crowd started chanting, "It's Chicago, so it's his hometown." Starts chanting, "CM Punk, CM Punk." And Vince actually played to it. He goaded them into it. Yeah. Keep chanting. Go on. Get it out. Get it out. Anyway, Vince starts talking again. And at that point, Stephanie comes out. And Steph kind of makes her argument as to why she should run Raw. Exactly. She says, "Hey, I'm part of the women's revolution. I'm responsible for the women's revolution. You know what? I'm responsible for the guys like Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. You know, we're pretty much responsible for all that. And to put Shane in charge, well, you're just following into the male hierarchy, and that's just misogynistic." At which point, Shane McMahon came out, and Shane points out all the acclaim he's gotten as the head of Raw for the past few weeks. And, you know, all the Rolling Stone and Bleacher Report and all the newsletters and stuff have been saying, "Hey, you know, Shane running Raw has been good." And so Vince decides that both Shane and Stephanie for the next few weeks will be in charge of Raw. So the announcement is no real announcement. Yeah, like I understand you need a bit of a cool down time for the main event match. Also, this segment went on really long, but I'm willing to cut a little slack on the lengths of certain aspects of this last bit because, again, the tag match, that was a real unforeseen circumstance, and that probably threw a wrench into things, so they probably had to rewrite a few matches on the fly there. So we'll get to that in the final grade. Okay, and that leads us into our main event, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. Very early on, a lot of what happened was Roman would go for a power move, AJ would counter with his speed and his quickness to avoid it. AJ would go for kind of a speed move to try to catch him off guard, like a quick arm drag or a hip toss, but Roman would be able to power through those. For example, AJ went for a hammer lock, but Reigns would block it. AJ slid out of the ring, dared Reigns to come after him. Reigns would start to exit the ring, but AJ drop kicked him. AJ then ran right into a lariat from Roman Reigns. Reigns then went to a one-arm power bomb and hits it on AJ Styles and actually started to act a little heelish, kind of played to the crowd, kind of mocked AJ a little. So, don't know if that's going to be official yet. Not saying it's going to happen, but, you know, he is actually starting to display a bit more of a heel persona. Maybe he will be turning heel at some point. Reigns then went for a Superman punch, but AJ countered that with an enziguri. AJ hit a fireman's carry into a backbreaker for a 2 count. Eventually they started to fight actually AJ did an Australian crawl, which, if you don't know what that is, you basically catch one guy's leg in between your legs and sort of roll through him on the ring. That's kind of hard to describe here. Basically, let's say this is their leg. You take your legs and you do this, and you basically use that to kind of roll them. Use that leg that you kind of grapevined to roll them around the ring. And what AJ did, he rolled that, and then he locked in the calf crusher hold. Reigns got to the ropes. Reigns rolled out of the ring. AJ went up, and he hit the phenomenal forearm onto Reigns, and they both went right through the announce table. AJ gets up, he starts trying to get Reigns into the ring, but Reigns is just, one, he's too big, he can't be picked up, AJ can't pick him up as well. He can't quite get Roman into the ring. AJ winds up beating the 10 count, but Roman Reigns doesn't. However, Shane McMahon then comes out and he says, no, we're not ending a main event like that. Restart this match, no countouts. So, the match restarts, AJ manages to get Roman Reigns back into the ring. AJ goes for a 450 a 450 splash, but Reigns counters. AJ went for a top rope move, but Reigns swung and punched AJ, but he hit him with a low blow, basically, which resulted in a DQ. And it's at that point that Stephanie came out and he said, no, no, and she said, no, 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 we're not ending a match like that. Obviously, Shane made a bit of a mistake. Restart this match, no DQs. So they come back in. AJ hits a flying forearm over the ring barricade and then follows it with a big knee drop. Reigns then countered a phenomenal forearm with a Superman punch for a 2 count. Reigns then went for a spear, but it's that point that Gallows and Anderson hit the ring. Gallows and Anderson then hit the Boot of Doom onto Reigns. At this point, AJ was unconscious on the outside of the ring. He managed to get back up and get inside. Got a 2 count out of it. AJ hit a phenomenal forearm on Reigns for a 2 count. It's then the Usos came out and attacked Gallows and Anderson before they can attack Reigns again. Roman Reigns then tossed AJ onto the 4-man who were rolling on the outside. Roman then did a dive onto all 4 men except for AJ to the outside of the ring. AJ then hit another a phenomenal forearm over the ring barricade onto Reigns. AJ then went and hit a 450 splash onto Reigns for a 2 count. At that point, they started running around the outside of the ring again. AJ went for a Styles Clash. Reigns managed to counter out of it. At that point, AJ came off the ropes, tried to hit another flying forearm. Reigns ducked it, came off the ropes himself, hit a spear, got the 3 count, and the victory. And this was a really good match. And one drawback, I didn't mind the false finishes in there. The one sort of drawback is AJ got a little too reliant on the phenomenal forearm. Like I said, it was like 5 or 6 phenomenal forearm attempts in this match. That's supposed to be a signature move, and you don't do your signature move that many times. A signature move is secondary only to your finisher. You do that 2, maybe 3 times in the match, not 6. But understand, I think they needed to draw the match out a little bit, hence the false finishes, because of what happened in the tag match. Anyway, in the aftermath of everything, Vince is standing back with Shane and Stephanie. They're talking about, oh, that was a really good match. And then Vince goes, well, do you think AJ needs another title shot? And both Shane and Steph looked at each other and said, yes, I think he should. And then Shane says, I think that it should be at Extreme Rules, and it should be an Extreme Rules match. This way we can know there's definitely a winner. We don't have to worry about DQs or countouts. And Stephanie looks and says, I was thinking the exact same thing. And then we didn't quite fade to black. We cut back to the ring, and then we fade to black. And, that does have to lead you to believe that maybe is Stephanie behind Gallows and Anderson? I'm not going to call them Bullet Club because that's what they were called in IWGP or New Japan. I'm not going to call them Balor Club because Balor isn't on the main roster yet. And even then, don't know exactly how that's going to play out. Is AJ with Anderson and Gallows? Is he not? But I definitely think they're planting the seeds for Stephanie to be the one behind bringing Gallows and Anderson in. Okay, the show overall. This was a really good show. I mean, the kickoff matches were, pretty blasé, but they're kickoff show matches, so sometimes they're kind of meant to just be blasé. I mean, they were typical fare for a kickoff show match. Obviously, the tag team match, we're just going to have to kind of discount that. That was an unforeseen circumstance that arose. Thankfully, Enzo's okay. But again, it's kind of tough to hold. You can't really hold that against the whole show. And I think because of that, again, it affected a lot of the other matches in a way because I think some of them had to be stretched out a little bit longer to fill the 3-hour time slot. Owens-Zayn. I guess I really didn't talk much about the Owens-Zayn match. And again, that's because, admittedly, I was a little shaken up by what happened to Enzo, and I didn't really pay very good attention for the first 2, maybe 3 minutes of the match. But when I began to really focus on it and pay attention to things, what I saw I really did like. Probably the second best match of the night, next to the main event. The Divas match, not the Divas match, the women's match, sorry. My bad. The women's match, aggravating, that was a real drawback. The Raw announcement was a real drawback. Ambrose Jericho, that was all right, not great. Like I said, the women's match and the Raw announcement match, I really got to hold that against the show, unfortunately. It's like, you build up to this announcement, there's no announcement, and you reenact the Montreal Screwjob for no real reason. So, yeah. And I can't give this show an A because of that, but I do feel confident enough giving the show a B. Okay, so I've had kind of a bit of a hectic time the last few weeks. Obviously, I still have yet to get through any of Daredevil Season 2 yet. I swear, I've been trying to. I really have. But, yeah, it's just every time I keep setting out to do it, something else will come up and get in the way. After that, let's see, sorry. Well, probably the next video is going to be the Captain America Civil War review. Admittedly, I'm trying to get caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to see how that leads into Civil War. I am, at this point, 3 episodes behind. I have 2 episodes on my DVR. There's the third one that will be airing this Tuesday. Hopefully I can get caught up on that before the end of the week. Like I said, Captain America Civil War will be the next video. That'll probably be out Saturday. I don't know if I'll be able to see it Friday at all. Next video after that will be the random trade review on Hulk Wolverine 6 hours. In the middle of scripting that. That's not that long a series, so that won't be too terribly hard to do. See you all next time.